Cowboys icon, and 1 year away from being a Hall of Famer, DeMarcus Ware. Sir, good morning.
Hey, man, ain't nothing like being on the fan. You guys have always treated me right, man. So thank you for inviting me on.
Are you good with the fact that we're already rubber stamping you in to the Hall of Fame? We're going to skip ahead the process. We're going to knock on your door right now and tell you it's a done deal.
Listen, if you can do that, that'll be a great thing. The last thing that we need to add to that list is just make me a bust, right?
Oh.
Put that bust in there, so then you put me in that fraternity forever, and then guess what? Hey, we're in this thing forever.
Now, we're obviously leading into the Super Bowl. Can you walk us through your Super Bowl experience in terms of, I know people are trying to be like, oh, it's another game, it's this, it's that. Like, what was the lead up actually like?
You know what, man? It was one of those things where we had that week off because we got that first round bye, but we prepared that whole week. And then we got there to Levi Stadium. You go and tour the stadium, and then it's almost like you get the tour of the city. Everywhere you go, I mean, you only get about 12 tickets, loaded to you, but I had about 50. The whole Ware family came to the Super Bowl at the time, and you have practices, you have your media days, like you just said, the radio rolls, and you have thousands of media there after practice each day where you talk, you dial things in, but you already did all the preparation stuff already, so you're not worried about that.
Did you think about telling your family they're on their own and just scalping your tickets and bringing in an extra wave of cash?
The thing is, I was going to sell my tickets, to be honest with you, because I said, you know what, ain't nothing wrong with a little cash. Ain't nothing wrong with a little cash, but I gave it to, my tickets to my family members, and it was actually easier to go and get them from the team because it was like a certain amount. You can't get overcharged. And I want to make sure that the money that I made from the winnings weren't just cut in half for me. So it was a nice experience.
Which one of these quarterbacks would you least like to play against? I mean, I know which one. You probably want to hit both of them, but which one of them would you least like to play against?
Dude, I would probably say Patrick Mahomes because, first of all, he's going to score a lot of points, and that means my team's going to be down, and they're saying they're going to run the football. But on the other end, playing against a guy like Patrick Mahomes, the string plays out no matter what his offensive line is doing. That's hard. First of all, you got to beat the offensive line in front of you, and then you got to chase him around half the time trying to get him down. So that's a challenge that, Tampa Bay is going to really run into. And, I'm really looking forward to what they're going to bring to the table with that hindered offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs.
When you're playing a team like Tom Brady in his prime or Patrick Mahomes right now, do you feel like it was success when you left the field and they only scored 3?
It's a success when I win the football game. Because at the end of the day, if I win by 1, I won the football game. But I don't want to play in no football game where there's 3 points. That means that they're running the football half the time, and I'm trying to rush the passer. So if there's a high-scoring game, that means they're throwing the football, they're scoring touchdowns, because you can only run the football a certain amount of time, right? So just to that point, if it's 3 points and we win, I'm happy. But that doesn't mean that I had the game that I wanted to have where I can crush the quarterback.
Okay, and we've always had this discussion, and I'm guessing this is not what happens, but maybe you can help us out. Was there ever a game when you had, 3 sacks or unbelievable amount of quarterback pressures and y'all lost the game, and did you walk into the locker room and you're like, I did my job?
There was a lot of times like that, to be honest with you. It was a time where I remember right at the end of the season, I think we were playing Philly, and I think it was Foles in the game, and I had 4 sacks. Spencer calls it from. I had 4 sacks and a touchdown, and I'm like, I did my job, but guess what? We lost by a touchdown, and I'm pissed because I did everything and led the league, made All-Star, first team All-American, All-Pro, my bad, and the Pro Bowl, all that good stuff, right? But the thing is, you still lose the football game, so it doesn't sometimes matter just what one player does. It also is on the other side, too, how everything rolls in.
DeMarcus, since you went to Denver, great team, and when you're going there, you knew it was a great team that was going after a Super Bowl there. Is there more or less pressure playing on the Dallas Cowboys to win?
There's more pressure because the star shines a little bit brighter. Because when we do well, everybody eats. the media eats. I mean, everybody's feeling good about where they are, but when you're losing, I don't want to talk about losing. I mean, I'm used to talking about winning. I mean, not of lately, but the thing is, it's like one of those things where you want to feel good. You want your home team to be doing what they need to do. And when you say it's America's team, that's everybody. It's not talking about, oh, this is just Texas, this is Cali. No, this is everybody in the whole world that enjoy the Dallas Cowboys star.
How tough do you feel that pressure from the front office?
Yeah, some games we felt that pressure from the front office. It just depends on, what games they were, how early it was during the season. Sometimes, Jerry would come in and, he would say some changes need to be made, especially with Bill Parcells. Every Wednesday, and when we had the Dallas Desperados, they would come over and practice on Wednesday, and we're like, hey, who is that guy over there on the other side? I mean, we used to think about it. Is that a new linebacker coming in?
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Parcells would say, hey, so here's a new guy that we're going to have practicing with us today just to see what he can do. And I'm looking like, where did this guy come from?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the pressure that you felt. I'm talking about when Bill Parcells was there. And when you know that Jerry came in on Thursdays, somebody probably finna get cut. When he sits on that sideline in that blue jacket, somebody finna get cut. And you looking over there on the sideline like, I hope it ain't me, which I knew it wasn't me because I had about 12 sacks that game. So I really wasn't worried about that. So, but it was, I mean, there's always pressure, but, at the end of the day, pressure bursts pipes. Either you're going to fold or you're going to, rise to the occasion.
That's really interesting because when I was working at the Cowboys website, DeMarcus, he would bring guys in. He brought a guy that played defensive line for him. He drafted him. And
Right.
and I was sitting there, and Mickey Spagnola was like, "Hey, who is this guy? Why are you here?" And he was like, "Oh, I drafted him, but don't write that." And so I went and found it, and I wrote it, and because I found it. And then Parcells came to me and was like, "I told you not to write that." And I was like, "But I found it." And he was like, "Well, you did your job." But you're right about the pressure he applied. Has any other coach since Bill Parcells been able to apply that kind of pressure and make guys uncomfortable?
No, no. I can sit here and just say no. I mean, there hasn't been one coach that's been there since I've been there that brought that pressure. But I know when Wade was there, he made you want to play for him because of what he brought to the table. It wasn't like one of those things where you're like, I'm getting pressured by Wade. It's almost was like, man, I got to play for that dude. I got to do everything I can to win this football game for this guy. I mean, you just felt that way. I'm just being honest with you from that standpoint. Yeah. And the same thing with Denver. I mean, you can say when he came up there to Denver, it was like everybody played lights out for him.
What did you think it was odd at all, the way, I know the season had been rough, but the way that Wade was fired then? If people wanted to play for him, I know there's always been discussion of politics and this and that, but did you think it was odd when he was let go from the Cowboys?
I think it was odd when he was let go because I think we were top 6 defense at the time. But the thing is, when the team's losing, the first people they look at is the coaches. The coaches are the ones that suffer, no matter if you're winning the football game or not, because the standard is so high. You look at it as, all right, if we're not winning championships, even though we're just making it to the playoffs or close to the playoffs, some changes need to be made. But, it's one of those things where they are the ones that suffer first.
I'm kind of curious, being the pressure guy that you were, and we talk a lot about DeMarcus around here. Lawrence as well. And Kevin refuses to call him Tank, so he was like, "I'm only calling you DeMarcus." So when you look at him, and I want to know the guys next to you, how much do they actually help you? What kind of talent needs to be next to you as a pass rusher to give you a better ability to get to the quarterback? And does he have that next to him?
The thing is, everybody has their role and what they do. Right, you got the speed guy, you got the power guy inside, you got the anchor, and then you have just a beast, right? So DeMarcus Lawrence needs to be that beast on that left side because he's going against that right tackle. He's right in the quarterback's face, and then when you talk about adding guys to the roster, you got to add that anchor. I didn't see that anchor, a guy where you're like, oh, he's a run stopper, right? And because I got the ball ran on them a lot this season, but that run stopper is also a push the pocket guy. The only thing they do is put their hands on the dude in the middle, take two guys and just push them back to the quarterback. So a guy like the Gregories and the Alden Smiths can get around the outside. So that's what I would add into the defensive line. Where is that anchor guy at the end of the day on first and second down? He eats. Mm-hmm. But on third and fourth, those outside guys do what they need to do.
Now, that 100%, I think, not only makes sense to us, but probably a lot of Cowboys fans just nodding their head in agreement right now. I am curious, though, if you found yourself in this situation, are there times when maybe the line is not set up in an optimum situation, but you need to step up? Like, you need to overcome the lack of an anchor and still be able to get to the quarterback, still to be able to get those sacks?
And that's when it comes down to scheme. When you have, let's say you're going from a 4-3 to a 3-4 type hybrid defense, you know, there got to be some beasts when you go into a 3-4. You got them three big linemen, you got the bigger linebackers, but we didn't have that. And so now going back to a 4-3, we can now get those smaller linebackers like, you know, a Jalen Smith moving around a little bit with Sean Lee. They're not used to taking on those guards in a 3-4 type defense. But then where you change it up is you make those guys move. They're fast. They're smaller. Now you move those guys around, and then they start getting a lot of penetration, and now the ball starts bouncing to the outside, and now Jalen just comes up and gets that smack hit. But I didn't see a lot of that this season. I was, looking at it as, okay, well, we're just going to play, steak and potato type defense. We're going to sit here, and we're going to play it how it needs to play. When some things should have been changed around, guys moving from left to right to keep the offensive lineman honest, and then let those guys in the back, those speed guys, make those plays.
DeMarcus, part of our job is to talk about people's salaries because there is a salary cap, so we have to look at how do you fit this and how do you fit that, right? And so what I'm saying is how frustrated do players get that we're talking about their money a lot?
When I'm making the money, you can talk about it all you want to. But when I'm not producing in the money and I'm getting paid for that money, now it starts to get under my skin because it's a point to where you start talking about guys that are making 50 mil, 100 mil, more than that, and I'm not producing like I should. Now I start feeling bad about myself because I'm taking that criticism, but I'm really not doing my job. So I'm starting to get pissed at what you're saying when I shouldn't be. I should be pissed at myself, because I'm not doing the job. But at the end of the day, if I'm getting paid, I'm doing my job. I really don't care what you say because I'm doing what I need to do. And, your story is going to be your stories.
We'll officially find out about this year's Hall of Fame class tomorrow. If you want me to volunteer, here's my pitch for your Hall of Fame. It should be fairly simple. 7-time first team or second team All-Pro player, led the league in sacks twice, top 10 all-time most sacks, and won a Super Bowl. Let's move on to the next candidate and go ahead and stamp this one in. But my question, if you need me for that, I'm ready to go. But
he did that without paper. He didn't even look at anything. He just had it in his mind.
Confident. My question is, somebody that you played here a long time, history says he will not make it. Do you believe that Tony Romo is a Hall of Famer?
From his resume, yes. If it's going off championships, no. If it's one of those things where you look at a Hall of Fame quarterback and you say, hey, did he win any championships? Okay, he won't make it. But from the way he played and the stats that he put up, all of that, yes, he'll make it for sure, especially with his image now in the media, being a big-time guy on television. So he is the perfect candidate for it to also promote, the Hall of Fame classes and all that stuff. So it makes sense. So it depends on what the criteria is. I don't know exactly what the criteria is, how it actually works and everything, but just going off of those two parameters, yes and no.
Can you come back for one more year or just like a couple weeks? Can you come back?
You know what, dude? Just like
time.
you said, I feel great, man. I've lost 20 pounds.
Wow.
And one of the missions on this show right now is me making this D2W app where you can download it in the App Store, right?
Nice.
Just through I had 3 back surgeries, 1 neck surgery, and now I feel better than I did. I can go out there and get 10 sacks, but now I'm just trying to persuade people. 40% of the people are obese now, right? And so now I get to impact people more in the fitness space, not just fans in the stadium, but everybody outside of the stadium, making the new locker room my weight room. And it's like, come to me. I've been a champion. I've been a captain for 12 years. And I'm making these programs that, I mean, I've made a program where you use augmented reality, right? You put it right there in front of you. It can be at home. It can be at the gym with you. And you can actually get to work out with me in your own space where there's machine learning. It learns with you, right, along the way, so you don't have to worry about plateauing. It's the same type of stuff we had when we played. But now I'm putting that in the cell phone, like truly putting that in the cell phone for you, and it's led by me. I put the work in. All the videos are me. It's not like some model that's doing it. It's actually, I put the work in. I'm talking to you like, hey, this is what you need to do if you want to build the best you.
Can you tell us the name of the app one more time?
Yeah, it's Driven to Win. So it's Driven to Win in the App Store. And you just or you can type in D2W in the Apple App Store, and bam, it'll pop up. And as soon as you download that thing, we've downloaded a lot of things for free, right?
Yeah.
This is free for 7 days. And if you want to create change in your life and put that work in, I would really recommend this right here, especially during the pandemic. Everybody's getting the pandemic 15, I call it, right?
Yes.
I just want you to dust those dumbbells off in the garage and let's get to work. It's real simple.
Well, we appreciate you joining the show and jumping on the Zoom as well. Always great to talk with you, man. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.